My name is Gina Paulus, and I'm the owner of Homebodies and Home Fitness Training. I am very excited today to welcome Dr. Tiffany Johnson to the show today. She's going to be here to show you guys a dancer strength training workout, and we are going to have a ton of fun learning this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to start out with some ladders, and this is going to be a great cardio warm-up for her, and it's also going to be a great way for us to get our legs a little bit stronger that will help with dancing. So for the first movement, what we're going to do is side steps through, just like that. You can go ahead, Tiffany, and show us yours.
And just all the way down?
We'll go down and back.
Okay.
Beautiful. We do want to try to land with our toes side by side. Perfect. Good. And then notice how she switched legs on the way back. It is good to practice leading with each leg. So for the next one, we'll go with in, out, outs. Okay, so just like that. And you'll notice too, she's on her tiptoes, which is definitely how you want to do all of these ladder drills. These are gentle, light plyometrics. And they're also helpful for people who are recovering from knee injury. Tiffany has experienced some knee pain in her history, so it's nice for us to work on these little bit gentle plyometric work so that she can get back into running, which is also one of her goals. And so next we'll do forward, forward, back, back. So 2 forward and 1 back. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Nice. Being light on our feet is great, just like she's doing now. And also the less pressure we're putting into the floor when we do ladder drills, the easier and more gentle it is on our joints.
Oh, did that the wrong way.
That's okay. So that happens a lot when we switch to the non-dominant side. So it's actually really good practice for people. And she's going to try to recoup here. I'll stop talking and let her concentrate. Good. Sweet. All right, so if you guys are going to do ladders at home, it's great to do this as part of your warm-up. You can always do some chalk drawings on the driveway and kind of do it that way if you don't have a nice ladder like this. We're gonna go ahead and pick the ladder up, and if you wouldn't mind helping me out, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
And we'll be placing the mat down to help her get into some of her core work. All right, and there we go.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. All right, so we're going to head into our face-down plank toe taps next.
Okay. I'll go this way.
Okay, and we won't do too many of these. This will just be another way for her to work her core in order to have her abs as well as her glutes.
Should I just go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Perfect. Nice. And notice how she's keeping her hips nice and flat. Good. We do want to try to have our toes directly under our heel on this movement. Let's do 1 more to each side, Tiffany. Perfect. You can come on down. How did that feel?
Felt great, Gina.
Are you hitting me or is that right?
That was fine. That was good.
Awesome. Good. Great. So then the next movement that we will work is our side plank with clamshell. I'll go ahead and show that one, and then we'll have you give it a try too. Okay, so we do have the option of using this resistance loop here. The resistance loop is a way to make it a little bit more challenging. And so, let's see, place that right around our knees, and then we can go onto our side. And then you want to lift your top knee off the bottom one. You can do this, like I said, without the loop if it's a little bit too challenging for the loop. But we do want to keep our body nice and straight and stable as we're doing it. All right.
It usually helps if your loop is pink.
Right. We do find that pink gives us a lot of strength and energy, especially if it's our favorite color.
Okay.
The hardest part is sometimes just getting the loop on, especially if we're a little bit sweaty. Okay. Good. We do want to have our back nice and straight here. You look really good, Tiffany. Beautiful. When we're holding planks, we want to have just a little bit of a brace on our abs, small breaths, breathing through our brace is what we call that. Let's do 2 more on this side, Tiffany.
Okay.
Nice. Spinning around like that is optional, by the way. Please don't hurt yourselves at home. Good. Now, when we started working on planks, I was able to tell a pretty big difference in her sides left to right. Lately, things have evened out a bit more, which is great. It's a sign of us keeping our injuries at bay when we have more of an even strength from left to right. Let's go with 2 more of these, Tiffany, and 2, and 1. Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so next we have an ab movement. This one is called Russian twist. We'll be utilizing the kettlebell for this one. So I'm gonna have you back on the floor and you'll hold this.
Okay.
You'll be balancing on your butt with your feet into the air. And we're gonna try twisting left to right. Beautiful.
I went right to left.
You know, either or. It all evens out in the end. Good.
I listen really well.
You know, I'm saying a bunch of stuff. If you hear half of it, that's, you know, better than a lot of people. So I'll give you the credit.
Sorry.
That's okay. So we have the option of staring straight ahead or looking left to right as you're twisting. Whichever feels more comfortable is totally fine. Good. Let's try 3 more here, and 3, and 2, and 1. Perfect. Good job. All right, so of those last 3, which move do you think is your favorite in terms of abs?
My favorite. I like the clamshell the best, actually.
Yeah. How come?
Well, I feel like that does a lot at the same time because of my old knee injuries that I've been trying to nurse back to good health.
Yes.
So I feel like it does ab stuff and knee stuff at the same time.
I hear you. Yeah, I love kind of a combo move of getting a couple things done at once. It feels really, really good.
Multitasking. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I'm trying not to use the phrase kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but there, I said it. I'm working on it, guys. So next we're going to be doing a little bit of hamstring work, and we'll be able to use this chair. So Tiffany, I'll have you go onto your back, and you're going to use, oops, can't lose the flowers. We're going to use the loop for you, so you can go ahead and lie right on your back.
What am I doing again?
And so the next movement is just
way?
follow along with me and you'll be good.
Okay.
So go ahead and lie on your back. Your feet are going to go right on the chair.
Okay.
The nice thing about having a trainer is you don't have to think, right?
Yes, this is true.
This is true. So we're going to put this on around your feet, and I'll have you kind of get that on yourself because I kind of draw the line at getting the equipment on people.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So let's actually move it right to your lower thigh. And I will hold this chair just because I'm not totally sure it's going to stay. Folding chairs are awesome for home workouts, but we tend to put them against the wall for safety, right? Want to be nice and safe. So you can place your heels right on the top for me, and I'll have you lift up and down. You're going to press your knees apart, and you'll go up and down like that. Now, sometimes people will experience hamstring cramping when they do.
Yep.
And so here we have a live example. There's a couple things we can do. One thing we can do is stop and rest. The other thing we can try is biasing a little bit more weight into the other leg.
What happens when it's both hamstrings at the same time?
So when it's both hamstrings, then you win and you get to stop early. So let's see if by resting just a bit, she can recover and do a few more. This is a hard one, so I don't usually have people do a ton of them. Let's try 2 more if you can.
Yes, I can.
Awesome. But yeah, it is very common for people to get hamstring cramping when they're working that. It's a muscle that doesn't tend to get used a lot during our day. So if that happens to you, just know that it's normal. We can always try this one as well without the loop if the loop is too much. Most of these come in levels as well, and this is a level 3. So you can always switch out loop and see if you can find one that is a better fit for the time being. And so you now are learning that you should probably stay on the ground, right?
I'm guessing that now.
Because we're on the ground for the first, so the last one on the ground, now that she's finally figured that out, is she'll be lying on her back.
Yes.
And we'll be doing the glute bridging with your hugging your knee into your chest.
Oh, okay.
Let's move this out of the way. So you'll have one knee in and the other knee bent just like that. Beautiful. And then we're going to press our foot into the mat and lift our hips up and down. Perfect. Good. This is another one that can cause hamstring cramping. We have the option of foot on a yoga block or foot on the ground. Foot on the ground is usually a better starting place, especially if you're new to this movement. Good. Let's try 2 more on this leg. Beautiful. Okay, we'll switch. It's also important to keep our core nice and neutral when we do this movement. So Tiffany will think about keeping her abs engaged so that she's using more of her glutes and her hamstrings while she's doing the move. Good. For our breathing, we want to do exhale on the up, inhale on the down.
Hey, I'm doing it right.
Cool. Bonus.
I don't usually breathe, so.
Yeah, it's one of those things when we're concentrating, it's the first thing to go. You know, it's the thing that keeps us alive, but it's really not that important.
It doesn't matter.
It's not that important. Let's do 2 more of these. Great. All right, so you can have a seat on the mat while I just explain a couple things about what we just did. So we worked her abs, we worked her glutes, we worked her hamstrings. All of those muscles are going to be really important for dancers, of course. If our core isn't stable, what's going to happen is our body won't have the tension to be able to do what we want to do when we're doing any type of dance. So lower body, of course, is a great focal point for our strength training with our dancers, but there are, of course, other parts of our body that we'll want to work too, so I'll be bringing in a bit of arm work, and we'll be doing some weighted work next, which will be all the better because if you have the ability to lift a weight, then your body, your own body weight doesn't feel quite as heavy anymore. So it's definitely a powerful way to help with your dancing strength. So I know you haven't had a ton of practice with dance since we've begun working together, but I mean, I'm expecting that you'll probably bounce back into it sooner with this work.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
no,
what I'm expecting.
Absolutely.
Cool. We'll have to do a sequel and maybe see how that all.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we'll be doing is our goblet squats.
Okay.
And so goblet squats, you want to hold them right to your chest. And we're going to inhale down, exhale press. One important thing on this, and I'll show you guys, is we want to make sure that we don't do an extra hip thrust at the top. We don't want to do that because that can put some stress on the front of our hip capsule. So just like that is great. You can go ahead and show us yours. We'll start with front view. Yeah, front view is great, and that way they can see the knees and the ankles and how we want that. So we do want those knees tracking over the ankles. A lot of people will ask me, hey, how do I put my feet? And it's really hard to say because everyone's hip is built a little bit differently. Sometimes even left to right, we're gonna have differences. So generally, a little bit of toe out, as Tiffany's doing here, is perfect. And then we wanna make sure that our knees are tracking over our feet, just like she's doing. Let's go ahead and show them the side view next.
Side view, okay.
And then spacing-wise, same thing. You can test out different spacings. Most people will settle on slightly wider than hips. And we're really going for just feeling those hips, getting that great work, but we don't want to have any type of pain in our knee or our hip with this. Let's do 2 more of these. The other thing you can notice too is having a shoe gives us a little bit of an ankle lift. And so, like she has here, if we need more of that, we can actually purchase a shoe with a higher lift if we do have any type of pinching in the front of our ankles. So, and then barefoot, of course, would be the opposite, where we're going to get a lot of stretch in the back of the ankles. The next one that we'll be working on is an exercise called calf raise, arch, lock, unlock. Now, with this one, I find that a lot of people, when they do their calf raises, they're going to do one of these. And their hips kind of go forward. I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but that's what will happen. And when we're doing that, we're actually pulling ourselves forward more with the front of our legs rather than using the back of our legs as well as our arches. So oftentimes I'll have people hold on to something to help them with balance so that balance isn't distracting for them. So for today, you're gonna get to hold my shoulder.
Lucky me.
I usually charge people for this, but so you can stand next to me and just light pressure there and just help with your balance. First step, what we're gonna do is we're going to engage our arch. We're going to do that by imagining our heel presses toward our ball of our foot.
You can't see that.
There's not a lot to see, guys, but just like stay with this.
You can feel it.
Stay with this. And so now you're going to do a calf raise by lifting your heels up, beautiful, and then you'll go back down and then you'll let your arch go. Again, you can't see it, but trust us.
It's happening.
It's slowly happening. Go ahead and do another one for me. So there's basically 4 steps to it. Engage, lift, lower, disengage, okay? Perfect. I will oftentimes have people do this off a staircase, but that can be a lot at the beginning. So doing it on the ground is perfectly fine, especially if you're new to this movement. Let's try 2 more of these. Good. Nice. Perfect work. Great. So ways to progress that one too can be working single leg, and that's a great way to up the ante if you're finding that those ones just aren't really doing the trick anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are going to move into a bit of arm work next. One thing that is important for dancing is for the ability to have that strength and endurance to hold our upper body throughout an entire practice or throughout an entire performance. So bent over rows are a great way to work that. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll give you this, and I'm going to bring the chair out. We're going to have her place her hand on the chair, so you'll end up like so. And you're going to pull up and down that way. So some people will do this on a workout bench. That's great if you have it. If you don't, then a setup like this works just as well. She'll be exhaling as she pulls. She'll be imagining that her shoulder blade is sliding toward her spine. Good. Nice. One thing to watch out for is we don't want to see the torso twisting a lot. So as you guys can see her from the side, you want to make sure that for watching her now, but of course at home you'll watch yourself in a mirror or some sort like that. We want to make sure that we're not getting that twist, but rather we're holding our body up. And it will work your other arm just as much as the arm that has the weight. So don't be surprised if that happens. All right, let's have you spin around. I'll actually move the chair so that we can keep your beautiful self on the screen. There we go.
All right.
Okay, so you'll see her knees are slightly bent, which is definitely what we want to do. That helps keep our back healthy while we're doing the row. Go ahead. Good. Let's even bend those knees just a little bit more. Perfect. Nice. So for people who have knees that like to bend a little bit backwards, almost like a hyperextension, you'll generally have to bend them a bit more than you would think in order to take that tension out of our spine. And the hand that's on the chair is getting a muscle called the serratus anterior, which is located right here. So we're getting both sides while we're doing even the one-arm row here. You'll see Tiffany's neck is neutral, which is exactly what you want to do. She's very well trained. She's looking next to her thumb. Let's do 2 more, Tiffany.
Is that 2?
That's 2.
Great. Okay.
Our counting is working today.
Yeah, ish.
Good thing there's 2 people here to keep track of that. And we have our last movement of the day already.
Already?
I know, it's like flying by. So we'll do our single leg, stiff leg deadlift next. It's a mouthful. Single leg, stiff leg deadlift. So stiff leg is we're balancing on that one leg that's going to keep a knee bend. So we're here, and we want to try to keep that angle consistent the whole time. And so you can go ahead and show us with this 10-pound weight. This is a new weight for her, so it can be a little roll of the dice to see how it goes, but
cool.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for her.
All right. Same side?
For today, let's do same side. That's a great question, though. So there is the ability for us to do either opposite side or same side. We're targeting different areas in our hips with the different hand and leg positions. Good. It's good to look at a spot on the floor about 5 feet in front of you to help keep your balance. Good. Nice. Let's try a couple more on this side. So obviously with one like this, there's a lot of carryover into our balance abilities. Even though you're not doing this exact position in dance, you're still working that leg and you're getting those muscles nice and strong and used to the balance. So.
That was 2, right?
Yeah, you're good. You can switch.
This way? Okay.
It's up to you. Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats my knee.
Right? Good. The idea is to have our body look like a seesaw. When one part goes up, the other part goes down. And this is much harder than it looks. Most people will have a hard time even just standing on one leg. If that's you, then I wouldn't do this move quite yet. I would get to the point where you can work up to doing 30 seconds of just balance without a weight. And then we're going to go ahead and add the movement, and then we can go ahead and add the weight. Let's do last one here, Tiffany. Good job. Perfect.
All right.
Great. So we can.
I made it. I didn't fall.
That was really impressive. Really impressive. You must do well under pressure.
One can hope.
So that was the last movement for our strength. We are going to do a couple stretches to finish things off.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and sit right next to me. First one we'll be doing is our butterfly stretch. And so for this, we have the option of holding it, or we can do light pulses, just like that. But what we're doing here is we're relaxing our inner thighs, which can feel really good after the workout. And sitting up with really good posture, not like me, but more like her is good. Perfect, you can continue on with that.
Okay. I'm butterflying.
All right, and then we'll try hamstring stretch next. So for this, I'll let you stay on the mat, but we'll just go this way and reaching forward that way.
Okay.
All right, so you can sit right there. And this one is another great one to do, especially after all that hamstring work. I find that most adults have a stronger front thigh than back, so I tend to load up more hamstring work in people's programming. The other thing to note is that Tiffany has had some knee issues in the past, and so for her, working a little bit extra on glutes and hamstrings is good so that we can help balance out her leg, because the knee is going to be what feels that pressure between our hip and our ankle. So if our knee is talking back to us, it's probably because there's some tightness in the leg elsewhere that's causing the problem. You can go ahead and switch sides.
Okay.
And for this hamstring stretch, I do like for folks to have their hands pretty even as they're reaching so that we're not kind of twisted in our torso. Good. It is best to do any static stretching where you're just holding the position. Save that for the end of the workout unless you've received physical therapy and they've recommended you do it before. The reason is holding a stretch makes us a little bit weaker, just temporarily, but the effect can last about 2 hours. And so of course we wouldn't want that to happen before we're doing sports or activities. But then the pulses like she's doing here, those are actually a lot safer and better to do as part of a warm-up too. So they can go at the beginning or the end, or you can just save the static stretching for the end. So that is the last thing that we're going to cover today. You did really well.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next time.